Hello friends and enemies, welcome back to Happy for Now. It's me, Isabel, here with my July wrap up. It was quite the reading month. I am still surprised by how much I read this month and how many favorites I had. That was really exciting. If you're new here, I do mid-month wrap-ups where I talk about the books I read in the first 15 or so days of the month, and at the end of the month we talk about the rest of them. I will mention them here in the rating section, but I'm not going to go into detail. So if you want details, I recommend you check out my mid-month on those books. And let's run right into my stats because there's a lot. There's a lot to digest here. In the month of July, I read a total of 27 books, which is just banana pants. And that was for a total of 5,957 pages. I feel like that's not right, but I think I read a lot of shorties this month, and that's part of it. I don't know. Those 27 books accounted for 5,957 pages with an average rating of 4.28. Again, if you're new here, I don't tend to continue reading things I'm going to hate, because life is short and I don't want to read bad books at the end of the day. The book breakdown of this was 3 KU titles, 8 books from the library, and 3 rereads. The age group breakdown is 20 adult titles and 6 YA and 1 middle grade. And then our formats were 4 ebooks, 13 audiobooks, 10 manga. And lastly, we had 6 new to me authors, but no debuts this month, which was interesting. But again, I'm always happy I'm picking up new to me authors because that's a big thing for me. I want to always make sure I'm cycling in those new to me authors. All right, let's jump right into the ratings and all the new books I read. So there were no DNFs, 1, 2, or 2.5 star books this month. But we did have a 3-star. We actually had 2 3-stars this month. One of them might go down to a 2.5. I'm not... Both of these could end up 2.5s by the end of the year. I'm still like debating them very heavily. So our first 3-star is The Halloween Moon by Joseph Fink. I read this during Summerween and it was really just disappointing overall. I think I expected a little bit more spooky of a middle grade from him, and that is not what we got here. I also felt like the plotting was like the idea, the concept was really interesting, which it centers on this girl who's like turning 13, I think. It's gonna be her last year trick-or-treating. There's a Halloween moon and the world freezes basically in time, and like none of the adults, most of the adults do not know what's going on, and she goes trick-or-treating for her last year and things are just weird and off, and she and her friend start to discover what's going on and grow and change through this in like formative 13-year-old ways, which was cute. And I feel like, you know, I don't even know that middle grade me would have loved this, is the thing. And usually when I read middle grade, I think about what me at the age I would be reading this would think, and I don't think I would have loved it, which is why I got a 3-star. But you know, the world freezes, they save the day. It's a lot about that transition between being a tween to a teen. Not very spooky, but like, again, it was just like, it was a neat concept, like that there's this parallel world and they get to invade during the Halloween moon and are trying to take over and make it so that it's always Halloween, which should be this girl's dream because she's obsessed with Halloween, but it's not what she wants. And we go from there. It just, something was missing, and I don't know. I do not know what that something was. So for me, it just ended up being a 3-star. It was really, really mediocre. Next, I read Hide by Kiersten White. So my previous experience with Kiersten White is Paranormalcy, her first like YA book. I read like the first 2 in that series, I think, back in the day. And I never really continued on. I don't dislike her writing. I enjoyed the ideas that she's had. They're not like, I don't pick up a ton of YA. So they're just not something I have picked up. And Hide to me was like a really cool premise. It's all these contestants that go on what they think is potentially a reality show / a test run of it, and they have to hide in this amusement park and survive. But people start vanishing, literally vanishing, and not coming back to the base camp at night, and people get suspicious of what's going on, and it turns into this like Greek retelling of the Minotaur story, which you don't know going in, which I feel like doesn't help, or I don't know if it hinders it. It kind of does a little. It just was like too much was packed into way too short of a book. This book is like under 300 pages, and so much happens that I felt, one, that we were head hopping way too much, and it was hard to keep straight whose head you were in, which again made the book struggle because you needed a little more substance from each character to get grounded in their head. So instead of being grounded in their head, you were left like confused as to where you were. And it just like was okay. I don't know. One of the characters was interesting. She had survived her father murdering her family, And I thought that was an interesting perspective to give of somebody going on one of these shows and like what her life's been like after that aftermath, which is basically like trying to hide her identity because people are very invasive, which is not surprising. We know this is a thing, but I thought the way that was handled was really interesting. And it just, yeah, great premise, execution was shit. So 3 stars. Next, we have my 3.5 stars. So first we have Totally Basted, which I talked about in my mid-month wrap-up, and Wild Invitation, which I also talked about in my mid-month wrap-up. So then we move into my 4 stars. We have Silent Night by Evie Mitchell. Talked about this in my mid-month, I loved it. We also have Shards of Hope by Nalani Singh. Talked about that in my mid-month, also really liked it. And now we have all my new 4 stars, which are a lot. I read a lot during Summerween and love it the night, y'all. So first up we have What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. This is my first T. Kingfisher. I just got Paladin's Grace or something like that on hold, like in from my hold on the library app. So I'm very excited to see what I think of that one. This is a creepy atmospheric horror novella, very literary, I would call it, in the vein of Sylvia Moreno Garcia style horror, which I really like really like. One of my favorite kinds of horror is that like S.T. Gibson's and Sylvia Moreno Garcia. Like that's what the horror I like to read is. So I loved the writing. We have like a genderqueer-esque character. It's not like fully delved into because of the time period, which makes sense, but there's definitely indications of genderqueerness in this story. So I really loved the genderqueer in the story, and I loved how the story was told. I don't know if I've read the Edgar Allan Poe Fall of the House of Usher, which I'm probably going to go read it now that I've read the story, because I'm curious, but it's like really creepy and atmospheric. Like something is killing this family in this house and they're not sure what it is. And I was just really surprised by it, and I really enjoyed how it all played out. It also features mushrooms, so that's fun. I mean, they're on the cover, I'm sure you're not surprised, but it's creepy and I really liked it. So if you're like me and you like that kind of horror and you haven't picked this up yet, you really should. Then I read Little Slice of Hell by Cleo Evans. This is a KU series that I am very excited to continue. So I'm giving this a 4. This one's like teetering between a 4 and a 3.5 for me. For me, this is an interesting setup. So it's about a coffee shop where there's a matchmaker and he matchmakes different creatures. This one is very Insta-love and very Insta-lust, and I think when I picked it up, I was not in the mood for that, which I don't hate those things. I have to be in the mood very, very specifically for them though to pick them up, which means that when I picked this up, I just wasn't into it. This has a host of content warnings. Cleo does a really good job of giving them to you on her website, and I will link to those for you in the comments. They're in the description box because it's a lot, but it was really interesting how a lot of it played out. It is an MM romance, and I liked a lot of aspects of it. I just mostly felt like the Insta-love was for me. Like the Insta-lovey lust part was meh. Like I didn't love it, but this one was an incubus and I think a human. Yeah, it was like an incubus and a human, and that was interesting. I liked how it played out, but again, the like some of the ending for me didn't work well, and the Insta-lust part was okay. But I checked out book 2, so like this is not bad. Then I read Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones, which I'm still kind of thinking about because like that was so weird, y'all, in like a good way and a bad way. Like it was just weird. So if you like Stephen Graham Jones, you're gonna like this. I like Stephen Graham Jones writing. I like his voice. It's very unique. It's very different. And I liked where this went because you think it's one thing and then it like twists into this whole other thing, and it was really good and creepy. So creepy, y'all. So yeah, mannequins are weird now. I mean, mannequins are already kind of creepy, but now I'm like, no thank you. Even more. So there's that. Then I read 4 books in the Mystic Bayou series by Molly Harper. So I'm just gonna group these together in order. So I did reread How to Date Your Dragon, and I gave it 4 stars. This is a really great intro to the series. It's really cute. It's very fun. I do want to give a quick content note / warning on this book series. It has random HP references, which I don't love. Like, I don't love it. So just know that going in. They always like kind of throw me every time they happen. I'm always like, they happen randomly. But this one's really fun. She dates a dragon, and she comes to the town to help with some stuff and ends up dating like the dragon who is the mayor. Is he the mayor? or the sheriff, whatever. He's one or the other. But this town has like a magical bayou and they're trying to figure out what's going on and why it's like this. So as we continue the series, we learn the source of the bayou's magic and what is actually happening in this town and why all these people are drawn to it. Then I read Always Be My Banshee, which was the next one I had in the series to read. And I really liked this one because we had a banshee hero and that was really interesting. I don't think I've read a paranormal with a male banshee, and I really liked how that was done and how it was handled, and again, loved this couple, enjoyed the story progression. We keep checking in with other couples we've met and that's really fun, but it's not too much. Like there's the perfect balance between the two, which I really love. Then I read One Fine Fae, which is like super short little novella. It's like a 4.5 in the series. And it's about a guy who's cursed and she helps him break the family curse. And it's really, really cute. And I loved how it worked out. It was just absolutely adorable. And last I read Shifters in the Night, which had like one of the funnest meet cutes because they meet naked. She shifts in his like backyard kind of into her doe form and is like running around and doesn't realize, and he's like a merman. And it was very, very cute fun. And it was kind of like the town outcast and the new girl in town. So I like how that all played out. I don't have a ton, like these are very quick, so it's hard to be like, here's a whole plot line, because if I give you the whole plot line, it's the whole dang book. So yeah, these are just, if you are looking for super duper quick novellas that are paranormal, I highly recommend this series, with the knowledge that there are some unnecessary Harry Potter references throughout. And I will be finishing that series this month in August, and I'm very excited about it. Next, we have my 5 stars, which we have Shield of Winter, which I talked about in my mid-month wrap-up. And then we have the 6 stars, which we have 4 of this month, y'all. 4 6 stars. We have 4 favorites. 2 of them I've already talked about, which is Heart of Obsidian and Sapphire Flames. Those are in the mid-month. But the 2 new ones are Emerald Blaze by Alona Andrews, which I absolutely adored so much, y'all. Like, oh my gosh, so much did I adore this. And this featured a great continuation story. We find out a lot of things about Alessandro that we did not know in the other book, and that was really interesting to see revealed, and I'm very excited to see where we go in Ruby Fever, which I'll be reading very soon. And I will have a reading vlog of all these books up later in August for y'all if you are curious to see my reactions as I read through them. So I hope you're excited, because I know I am very excited for these to this story to wrap up and see where it goes. And last we have Dreams of the Deadly by Adelaide Forrest. This is my first book by her. I read that well, first full length. I read the novella, and then I got the arc of this, and I blew through this book. I did not want to put it down. I had travel and was very tired, so I did put it down. But if I didn't have travel, I would have just stayed up all night reading this book, full stop. I will link to my review in the description with all the content warnings for this book, because there are a lot. But this is one of my new favorite dark mafia romances. I cannot believe how much I loved this, and I don't usually love a cliffhanger or a duet situation, but this one worked for me really well because we didn't end on too big of a cliffhanger really. We're kind of ending at a good stopping point where like if book 2 has a problem, I will be okay. But this one follows Talia, who is colorblind, and she is the heiress to the family name and stuff, and her dad betroths her to this boy Calix, who is like part of one of the other families, to bond, you know, to form a union between the families when she's little. So they like start interacting when she's real little. He's like, I don't know, 8 years older than her, 6 years, like he's a lot older than her, like 7 8 years older than her. And he just kind of takes on the role of like protector, but not in like a gross way for her. Like, does that make sense? Like, it's not gross. He's just like there for her and like befriending her and getting to know her so that she knows him before she finds out that they're betrothed to each other, and it isn't as much of a like punch in the gut. So he's befriending her, taking care of her. Some stuff goes down, and he and his family are exiled from, like, I think it's Philadelphia they're in. So they're exiled because of something that happens. And because of that, he has to work his way to come back and save her as an adult, which is what he does. He steals her from her freaking wedding, which is one of my favorite tropes that we don't get a lot of. And I know Heather from Heal Booktubes also loves this trope, and I just was like, oh my god. Oh, as soon as I read that in the novella, I was like, Heather, you have to read this. But yeah, so he steals her from the wedding and like murders everyone. This is like the epitome of the like, you touch her and you die trope, like incarnate with this character. He is like ready to kill anyone who touches her and does her harm. But she then has to like grow into herself and take on this identity to help manage the families and take a chair at the table for the families that rule the town, like that rule the city in this Mafia. And it's really, really good. It's so good. It is just like, it hits so many of my tropes, y'all. It is so good. So if you like a lot of the dark romances I like, I think you will love this book. And I think it's just got a lot going for it. But again, I will have a link in the description box to my review, which will have content warnings for this book, just so you don't go in surprised. It's a lot, so I know myself and I know I'm gonna miss one if I try and list them all here, and I don't wanna do that to anyone, but proceed with caution. But also it's so freaking good. All right, y'all, it's time for the manga section, which I did read quite a bit of manga this month. So the manga I talked about in my mid-month was Can You Just Die, My Darling, Volume 1, Nina the Starry Bride, Volume 6, Donuts Under a Crescent Moon, Volume 3, Catch These Hands, Volume 1, Apekun's Got Me Now, Volumes 1 through 3, A Girl and Her Guard Dog, Volume 1, and Cheeky Brat, Volume 1. The only new manga I read in the last half of the month was Blood on the Tracks, which I read Volume 9, which is right here. I'm gonna show you. This one is thick. So here's Volume 9, and I'm gonna show you how much thicker, like it is thicker than the other volumes. We got so much development during this that I am just dying for Volume 10 to get in my greedy little hands. I want Volume 10 in my greedy little hands like immediately. So badly, y'all, like so badly. I cannot wait to read Volume 10. I cannot wait to see where this is going, especially since like Volume 13 and up is like the prologue to the story. And after this volume, I don't know where we're going, and I'm very just like, whoa, this is happening. Yeah, this went places. This went places big time. I highly recommend Blood on the Tracks if you are interested in horror, suspense, uncomfortable mangas. This one is for you. Full stop, for you. So that is all of my reads for July. I would love for you to leave me a comment with your favorite thing you read this month. And if you don't want to do that, leave me a blood drop emoji or a full moon, because Love in the Night, Summerween, it's been spooky time, and August 1 is the start of spooky season in this household. Hence why you will see a lot of me doing some Halloween hunting in my vlogs. So yeah, leave me that, either one of those in the comments. And if you are looking for links, those are all in that description box, as well as links to my friend anywhere on the internet. And I will talk to y'all in just a few days. Bye.
Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away.